So I have promised everybody that is watching this that you will fix their marketing here in like 30 to 45 minutes. Yeah. You will fix it 100%. Yeah. They will only kind of need your service because you've delivered so much value. Otherwise, the title will look like entire clickbait, and we will get downvoted to oblivion on YouTube.
Yeah. And it will be
it will entirely be your fault.
So we're talking about marketing today?
Yeah, sure. Listen, we just talk about whatever he makes the title for the first like maybe 30 seconds. Then we just go on.
It is like 6 to 7 minutes of nothing, and then eventually we get to the topic. It's buried in there.
We have topics?
I have titles. So the topic is whatever the title is, but it's just buried in there.
Yeah, but see, usually you put... Listen, you usually make the title.
Are we live right now?
Not before.
I always explain to people that the ASOG podcast is kind of like an episode of Seinfeld.
Yes.
What? About nothing? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yes, pretty much. Hey, did you listen to the newest episode?
I've never been cut so deep before.
No, it's not an insult. Y'all cover all kinds of stuff, but it's like try to define
most recent one.
Like one topic on an episode, and you just can't do it.
I do it in the titles. The titles tell you what it's about.
Yeah, but you just like pick one 30-second.
No, not 30 seconds.
The whole thing
it's the meat of the thing.
Okay,
meat and taters. The meat and taters,
huh?
Or whatever the title is.
Man, hearing you say taters is weird. Don't lie. Brian, can you say taters?
Taters.
See, that's what it's supposed to sound like, David.
What did I say it like?
Are they supposed to say taters? I don't know.
Say that again.
Potatoes. Oh no, man! Like you can tell you ain't from the South.
I can't right now. Hey, do y'all watch Yellowstone?
No, I wanted to watch it, but it's like it's not easy to watch. Right, like you gotta have a streaming service.
You have to have internet.
I'm the kind of guy like I can push a button. Two buttons, 3 buttons max. I'm done.
All right. Well, what about you, David? Have you watched it?
I can't do shows. I'm sorry. Oh, there's one show I can do, but then it's got to be YouTube. If it's not on YouTube in like 7-minute clips.
Oh yeah. His attention span's approximately 30 to 45 seconds. The rest of it is him like zoning off into space. It takes the other 5 minutes to 7 minutes for him to completely zone out.
Listen, I just listened to a podcast. It was on YouTube, but I watched or /listened to the podcast. It was 3 hours long. 3 hours. Now, it took me a week to get through it, but 3 hours long. I was impressed with myself. Yeah.
That's impressive. That is impressive.
The whole point of me asking that was because I assumed that you would recognize Tater.
I've heard of said character, but no, I do not.
Okay, well, never mind then.
We know some people around here called Tater.
such a disappointment.
I'm just going to be real with you.
We probably shouldn't talk about them
because they know who they are.
I don't need anybody coming after me either. So
no, that's that kind of person there. So yeah, probably shouldn't talk about them. All right, so we're going to talk about marketing.
No, we're going to fix everybody's marketing on this live stream.
Well, they already fixed my marketing. I don't know what to talk about now.
Well, then we're going to fix everybody else's marketing. Now, you're fine. Everybody else, though, people watching, they're going to be like, fix my marketing right now.
Did you know this, Brian?
No.
I think you were walking back over to your man cave, shop, studio, whatever you want to call it today, when QT right there was saying, oh, I called him out. He was trying to change the logo. I saw what you did. Anyways,
they're gonna cut the live stream and they'll be like copyright infringement because I splashed the QT thing on there. I'm telling you.
But he says he promised everyone that we are fixing everyone's marketing in this segment.
Well, I was here for that.
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah.
He was on board. You're the only one not on board, Kim. I don't understand.
We've coined it the Walker way, right? Like all you got to do is tell them, hey, just follow the Walker way and it's all good. That's all you got to do. Yep.
Have you heard us say that before?
No. I
Nobody has said that ever.
There is such a thing as the Walker way.
Really? Yeah, I've never heard you say that before.
Yeah.
I did that on my own. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I dropped it in a class thingy. Yeah. Yeah, I've got the PowerPoint. I can show it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, it says the Walker Way in it. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So how do we fix our marketing? Who goes first?
Are we live?
I mean,
what? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we going there now?
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me this.
Hey, you guys were complaining that it's a show about nothing, and we need to deliver some meat and potatoes.
So here you are. Here's your meat and taters, Kim.
We were not complaining.
Gosh.
So
I love the show
let
about
me
nothing.
rephrase my question. What is the
You
biggest
love shows about nothing.
What is the biggest mistake
Oh my gosh.
that people make marketing their shops? What's the biggest mistake? You work with hundreds of shops, probably thousands of shops. What's the biggest mistake you see?
They get asked that all the time. I think we've already asked them that.
Have
In
we
fact,
really?
I think, the last time they were on, we asked them that. We spent talking like 30
For
minutes
somebody
talking
who
about
can't
that.
remember what they ate for breakfast, you
I'm
sure
sorry,
do have a
I
great
got to
memory.
listen to these episodes like 75
That
times.
just means
I know
this
everything
must have
we
been
said.
very memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
too.
true.
That too. It wasn't that I said 75 times. And I know every
David,
detail
you
of
ask
every
a question.
episode.
David, you
Somebody
asked the
needs to
question.
fix their marketing. What's the first thing they do?
I like it.
Besides call you.
Well, I mean, it's funny because when you call us, we're going to do an audit of your marketing. We're going to look at everything, kind of give you like a report card. So I think first, and I'm curious to see if Brian will say the same thing. I think you have to look and see what you're doing and what you're not doing. Kind of a stop-start thing, an analysis.
You got to figure out where you're at first, because there's a lot of shops that do a great job with marketing. And there's some that don't do such a good job with marketing. So, the first thing to do is really find out what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and then go from there.
Yeah. There's a really common theme in ASOG. There's a really common theme in shops I go into all around the country, right? And I was in one just the other day, and the employees were offended because my shop markets. And they're like, you're paying for reviews, you're doing this. I'm like, first of all, I've never paid for a review ever, right? Never, ever. I've asked for them. I've never paid for one. This is a sore topic for me. David had to hear about it for 45 minutes the other night. But
I want to know how I can pay for reviews. I'll pay somebody to leave me some
listen,
reviews.
you're getting messages
so if you
right
guys
now. I'm
wanna,
getting spammed with somebody that'll give me reviews if I pay for them.
No. I'm not talking about the broken English like randos that are reaching out. But if people out there would like to leave me reviews for some money,
listen, I think we need to be honest. You probably don't have any money. So, I mean, honey buns.
I didn't say they were going to be dollars. I will send you all the Mexican pesos you can handle.
Brian will take it in crypto.
David's got plenty of crypto. At least he did until like 3 weeks ago. But
I didn't sell it. Hey, it's only losses if you sell it. You only have to pay taxes on it if you sell it.
Interesting.
So I'm good.
Interesting.
Well, I will tell you now, so we're talking about it, and I could go on a rant because there are some things that drive me nuts about people's marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And one is it's inconsistent. What they're talking about on social does not match what they have on their website. There's a billboard that makes no sense. None of it is working together. And then the message is completely, some of it is ridiculous. I mean, what people are putting in their marketing and their messaging is not even speaking to the audience that they're trying to bring in. So I think those are the two big things I'm typically looking for is consistency in what they're doing and if their message makes sense.
And that answers your question, Lucas. That's always the biggest mistake that people make is that there is no cohesiveness in their marketing.
Right.
The messaging from one type of marketing that they're doing to another type of marketing is completely different. And it's usually because they've got one person over here that's doing their website. They've got another person over here that sold them a billboard, another person that walked in and sold them the tube mailer one day.
Right.
And they just say yes to random things. And the person who's creating whatever that marketing asset is has no idea what the rest of the marketing looks like or what the theme is or anything like that.
Yeah, I can.
Well, and it's usually because they're all there. You've got somebody doing your website. You've got somebody that does this. The person that does the radios coming in. We'll write your script for you, or some random magazine in the community. Oh, we're going to create your ad for you. It's part of your cost. We'll do it for you. And nobody's talking to one another. So you got a message over here, a different graphic. They screwed up your logo. It's
absolutely. Absolutely. And I think beyond all of those things, the biggest mistake people make when marketing is they don't market at all. Right. And that was my message to this shop the other day that I got so frustrated with, is because they didn't believe in marketing. And I understand in some cases, like where your shop's at, you may not need to market. But if you plan to grow, if you plan to expand your business, if you plan to get better, you have to market. Right? People die. I hate to talk about that, but it's true. They die. People move. People buy new cars. And we have to prepare for that in some way or another. But more than that, the importance of marketing for me is not necessarily bringing in new clients. I mean, y'all know me. I can't fit another person in the door if I tried right now. I mean, when I move, that's a different story. But my point is like, it's about taking the hips and valleys out, as opposed to having these big peaks and these low valleys. If we can kind of balance that out through marketing and strategies in the shop, it makes all the difference in the world. It's not about saying, I don't need to market. I don't have to have people in my shop. Word of mouth's keeping me full, right? Like, and a large majority of the people who say that, what I have found is that when you look at the business financials and they start fixing the business financials, guess what? A lot of those people start to go away. So I don't know. I mean, I think for me, the biggest issue is that people don't market at all.
You talk about the peaks and valleys of someone who doesn't market at all. The craziest peaks and valleys that we see are the ones who they market when they're slow and they stop marketing when business gets good.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just turn that off. I'm too busy for that.
Yeah, I mean, they set themselves up for failure because their business, it looks like a roller coaster with the peaks and valleys, with especially just their revenues. And, one day you got techs that are in the shop overwhelmed. They have too much to do. And the next day they're mad because they're sitting there with nothing to do.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. And we see it all the time, right? Or even worse than that is they get slow. And then what do? When they get slow, they turn the marketing off because they don't have the cash reserves to cover the marketing. Yep. It's like, whoa, you cannot do that. You cannot turn that off at that point in time. You've got to keep going.
Yeah.
Well, there's it's the constant stop, start. And if you're doing ads, there in that introductory beginning time of ads is when the ads are being learned by, say, Facebook or Google, and it takes time for the audience to get perfected. And so if you're constantly stopping and starting, or engagement on social media, it's that law of inertia when things, it takes so much energy and effort to get something going that once you get it going, keep it going. And so many people do the stop, start. When COVID hit, it was a sink or swim kind of situation. We grew dramatically because so many shops realized my online presence sucks. I've got to fix my website, or, I don't have a social presence, or I have one, but it's not good, or I need to do ads. And there was so much that happened when the whole pandemic thing just, got to the peak of that. It was outrageous. People that came and had nothing in place. So they weren't ready for, nobody was really ready for that, right? But you have to be ready for whatever the next thing is.
Yeah.
There's going to be another next thing.
For sure. I agree. 110%. David, what do you think? You're the one who came up with the topic. What do you think? What's going to solve their marketing problems? Where does it start?
I ran the topic through software and it spit out a title. And I'm like, we'll run with it. So I don't know anything about this stuff. This is all gibberish to me. I will say, however, that I lost my train of thought.
Train of thought is derailed. All right.
You guys started a podcast, right? Right?
We did.
Yeah.
What's the podcast about?
The Auto Repair Marketing Podcast. It's about marketing. Auto repair market.
I mean, do you guys run out of stuff to talk about? Or do you just keep finding new topics to just kind of cover? Are you guys doing case studies, or how do you deal with that?
Man, there's always stuff to talk about when it comes to marketing because it changes every day. So there will always be things to talk about, but we also will be talking about things on this podcast that are not marketing related, despite the title of the podcast.
Wait a minute. There's a podcast that doesn't follow the title? Huh.
Did you guys discuss Yellowstone at all?
Yeah, that's my next big question.
No.
But we have a list of people we want to talk to and ideas, but it's funny that you get an email and you're like, oh, this is a great topic for the podcast. You go add it to that. Speaking of, I got an email today, since y'all like to go all over the place, which drives Brian crazy.
Oh, I love it. I love driving Brian crazy. Makes my day better.
I didn't even know what Doritos is doing right now in the world of marketing.
What are they
Have y'all
doing?
seen the new thing?
What are they doing?
The Triangle Challenge?
No.
Okay, so they have decided to do, and it's on Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook. It's on all of the places. Is they're getting people to submit creative content, photos, videos, whatever, highlighting triangles that they find, and they're relating it to the shape of the Doritos triangle. So I threw it out to my team. Lucas, you'll probably get a message from Miss Caroline.
Yep, I guarantee you. I bet you I already have it.
I threw it out to my team, and this was just today. And I was like, hey, maybe we can get our shops involved in this Dorito triangle challenge. Like, look around their shop and find something shaped like a triangle.
Well, they're going to ask y'all to slap each other in the face with something triangle shaped.
That's a good one while your mouth is full of water.
Is this thing going to turn into the Tide Pod thing? Where
No. Just a tortilla challenge, buddy. We're not going full Tide Pod here, okay? It'll be fine. It will be completely fine. So you know, that kind of comes full circle, though. Because what you guys are really good at is getting the shop in front of the clients in a way that is organic, that is natural, right? And so one of the things
how does Doritos, looking for Doritos in your shop, sound natural? Are you making them do TikTok dances?
Listen,
is Lucas doing TikTok dances?
No, I'm not doing TikTok dances. Mike Allen dressed
the difference?
Up. Mike Allen dressed up in a peanut butter and jelly costume. I've got video of that if you want it, David. I make my staff.
Was he singing the peanut butter jelly song?
Yes,
so he was the giant banana?
He is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's videos.
How long? That's old. That's like 10 years old.
It is.
So it was like.
Oh man. Listen, I am trying to keep him on track for you guys. I promise. Listen.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you to go search on YouTube, the Internet Historian. And the guy chronicles just things that happen on the internet. And one of the things was when these corporations come in and they try to create these viral videos, these challenges, whatever, been going on for forever. And the internet gets involved, and it always ends up disastrous for the corporation. Almost always. The one I can think of is it was sending Pitbull to a Walmart, and you had to go to he would come in and visit, and everybody would get a chance to sign, the singer Pitbull, right? And so you had to vote for your local Walmart. That's what everybody thought people would do. Get on the internet and vote for your Walmart up the street. They didn't. They went and found the most remote Walmart in the world, which is out on an island in the middle of Alaska. There's like an island out in Alaska. It's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, whatever. It's impossible to get to. That's the one that won. He ended up going, but that's not how they were intending that to go. Taylor Swift, I think it was like name her one of her songs, or they were going to send Taylor Swift to meet somebody or whatever, and it was they voted in these creepos to go meet Taylor Swift.
I do remember that.
The internet is a bad place. Like, I think we all know the internet is a bad place, right? There's zero doubt.
It's cool and interesting until the corporations get involved. When Frito-Lay's like, "Hey, let's hijack this," and it's like, "Oh, now it gets cringy," or they ruin it, intentionally ruin it to make the corporation look bad. So I'm just saying.
Now I'm going to be following.
Anytime that Wendy's social media gets involved, though, it gets really good.
Their Twitter, their Twitter feed's pretty good, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, who else is it? I think, have you watched the Twitter feed between Universal and Disney? Have you guys ever seen that?
I did. It's been a while, but yeah.
They will throw some hard punches back and forth between each other pretty regularly, right? Like and airlines, some airlines will do it too. Mm-hmm. So I don't think any of the airlines are getting any brownie points, regardless of who they are at this point.
But do you think that ever translates into more customers? Like, I
don't know. It's a good question.
Are you going to go get a Wendy's chicken sandwich because Wendy was throwing out some funny tweets at McDonald's, or so they were roasting random followers on Twitter, and you're like, that's funny, Wendy's. I'm going to go eat a chicken sandwich from Wendy's.
Nobody looks at that and decides, I'm going to go eat a chicken sandwich, but Wendy's gets like burned into their brain and they don't even know it.
Yeah. Don't realize it's happened.
It's just subliminally.
But some of these brands are so big. It's like, I mean, how do you not notice Wendy's?
Listen, David,
and their chicken sandwiches are overrated. They're overrated.
I feel like it's that whole top of mind thing. It's just constantly reminding me that they're there. And I will drive past a Wendy's and I'm like, I want some chicken nuggets.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like,
so, wait a
Wendy's
minute.
was
Who has
funny
the best
on Twitter.
Chicken nuggets? I mean, I need to ask. Because you said you'll drive past.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
you really? You think so?
Oh.
You think so? McDonald's, I mean, it may not be real chicken, right? I'm not saying it's actual chicken, but McDonald's does have a really cool, crunchy...
Who'd you say, Brian? Crunch. Who'd you say?
Chick-fil-A.
Really?
Yeah. David, what about you?
I don't do chicken nuggets, man.
I don't either.
I can't do it. I feel like I'm 6 years old eating chicken nuggets, and I'm like
dunking it in your ranch dressing, making an intro to a video. If you probably eat ranch dressing on all your food, chicken
tendies.
Nugget
Can't do the chicken tendies either. I cannot.
Tears streaming down his face.
I told you the show was Seinfeld. I told you this podcast was an episode of Seinfeld.
No, we're talking about marketing here. I think Chick-fil-A, they don't have anything funny on Twitter, but I think that's a better representation of good marketing. They have built their reputation without the silly Twitter account, without a lot of TV ads, a lot of print ads. Like, you see a Chick-fil-A, you sort of know what you're getting. 100% of the time, the experience is very consistent across the country. I've been to Chick-fil-A's all over the country, and the experience is consistent. You could say that about McDonald's, but they have a certain standard, and that's what they market around. They say my pleasure when you say thank you, and they only serve chicken, and they're closed on Sundays. It's their thing, right? And they've built everything around that without the goofy Twitter account or the challenges on TikTok.
Well, they're so great at it that their customers are creating their marketing for them.
That's true.
Right?
Very true.
You think about the user-generated content that they're not even asking you to do. They're not even asking for it, and people are doing it. You can find all kinds of crazy GIFs that are right there. You just go pull it up. It's so easy to... some of these shows I have to look for or go try to make one. Chick-fil-A just has it right there from users. There's TikToks that are out there because just of the expectation of exactly what you just said, David.
Well, and we just did a podcast episode on this.
Go ahead.
We just did a podcast episode on this exact thing. Talking about how customer service is marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to spread out the numbers, the episode numbers. You're going to get kicked off your network. I'm just telling you.
That
you got to say
will
episode
be
304B.
12. It hasn't released yet. We just recorded it.
Ooh, there you go.
Y'all
We're
are
getting
still at the
inside
easy
track.
numbers where you
Coming.
can actually remember them. Ask David what an episode number is. He's going to remember Rick Light's episode because it was number 1, okay? That's as far as he's getting.
And
He
the
forgot
50th
everything else.
one. I know, I've forgotten it. I'm sorry.
And I feel like we should have, it's like checking account, the number of the check. I feel like we should have started, instead of episode 1, we should have started with like episode 305.
Yeah, David.
That's
You should have done
cheating.
that.
What's that? What?
I-
Really?
you
You
know-
think so? I don't know.
So
I think it
back
sounds.
to-
It looks disingenuous.
marketing.
It looks disingenuous. They're like, "Where's episode 2?" And it's like, "Hey." So we started running ads in front of our podcast. Shout out to our sponsor. And
Shopware's awesome.
you're on together. You got the shirt on. You goof. Anyway,
Just had the little noise that sounded like
Yes,
what we're
I
putting
did.
on our reels now, Brian. You know what I'm talking about? That just came out of your mouth.
Yeah, I did. I'm bad for that. I'm bad for that.
Oh my god.
anyway, so when you go to an episode, it plays the ad before you play the episode, and somebody on Facebook's like, "I think there's something broken because every episode starts the same way." And it's somebody had to explain to them. It's like, dude, you got to get through the first 60 seconds. It's an ad. Just make sure you listen to every second of it first. Do exactly what I tell you to do in the ad, then go play the episode. Otherwise, it doesn't work. People are so
man.
if I had started at episode 305, trust me, I would have been getting emails. Where's episode 1 and 2 and 301? And
Those would be the only emails you've ever gotten, but that would have been an email.
I get so many angry emails. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you do get the angry ones. I get the nice ones. It's pretty cool.
I don't know
think
why that
it's
happens.
worked out
I never
well.
even share your email address. Do you guys get angry emails?
No.
No?
I don't get angry
So it's
emails.
just me. I see how it is. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
somehow,
Just you.
It's just
Pretty
me.
much it. Yeah, I agree.
Brian probably gets them. Brian probably gets them, but he doesn't know that he got it.
Yeah, or he's not willing to share that he got it, right?
I'm just
They're
totally
probably from
messing with
David.
him. He just
I have a permit.
they're emailing each other. Brian, I can't hear you. What?
I said I have a permit.
Why don't you tell him about your permit?
My permit says I do what I want to do.
David, buddy.
Cue you, David. This is where you insert. What's the guy's name, Brian?
Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson or something. Y'all don't know who that is?
Yeah, everybody knows. Ron
You've
Swanson.
not seen the video. I see.
Yeah,
I see how it is.
the
You clearly are not watching our content because you would have seen David knows who Ron Swanson is.
He's he folds up the piece. Here's my permit, and he hands it to the cop, and the cop opens it up and says, "I do what I want." Yeah,
Yeah,
It doesn't
we need
work
to get
that
David
way.
one of
Same
those.
I
one.
tried to do that. The city then shut me down and said, "You can't do what you want. Pay the fees." I wish it
Does
worked
he
that
really
way.
say it that often? Because I don't remember seeing it.
I
And
think it
now
was just
I've got
one
a
episode.
complex.
Yeah, it was just one episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lucas just trying to stir the
So
pot.
we have a faithful watcher of all our content. I deleted one of his comments on Facebook on YouTube by accident one time. I felt terrible.
And like he's
Typed out-
genuine. Like
Yeah,
David
I know. I
sends
felt
me messages. I
horrible.
thought he was
I'm
gonna
like,
cry.
he types all this stuff out, and then I was just trying to get rid of the spam comments, and I hit his and flagged his by accident. Anyway, he's been in business for a long time. Does no marketing. And I think he said his dad was running the business, and then now he's running it, and he's passing it on, and he's had to do zero marketing to get his customers. And I hear this a lot. It's people saying that, "Oh, I don't need to market. I just do really good work." And my rebuttal is always, that doesn't scale. That doesn't scale.
Yeah.
You are a product of your time, location, and a lot of luck. You just happen to be at the right time at the right place to hit the market in a certain way, or whatever it is that you're offering was you had an underserved community of whatever it is that you're bringing to the table at that particular moment, and you got flooded with customers and you were able to just keep it going from there. If you up and moved 20 miles over to the next area and tried to set up shop and do the same thing you're doing, you're going to find that it's nearly impossible. You're going to go out of business at the second location because what you're doing now is unique and can't be duplicated. So that's the problem, is you can't scale it past what your one location or your one area or whatever it is that you're offering. What do you guys say to that?
Well, I mean, the numbers, will tell the whole story there. If they've got a great business and they've never done any marketing, then they obviously don't need to do marketing. But it's kind of like you say, how scalable is that? They may be that 3-bay shop that has been 3 bays for 20 years. They're happy with their revenues. They have no debt in the business. They're making good profits. They're doing everything right and they're not marketing, and hey, it works for them. Like there are legitimately some shops that they don't need to market. But if they want to take that same shop and turn it into a 10-bay shop doing 4 or 5 times the revenue that they're doing now, they're not going to do that without marketing.
Exactly.
Period.
And go ahead.
I was just going to say 2 things that jump out at me when that scenario is, one, there is for sure a personality change, and I'm not saying that it will catch up, but if dad is gone and now the son is there, look, if it's Brian and Peyton, they are the same person. So maybe nothing's going to change. Brian and our son are literally like exactly the same person. But most likely the son is going to be a little different. And so not only do you have to keep those customers coming back, but you also have to think about what's going to happen naturally as the days pass, and maybe the son brings his personality into it. I think that's kind of a little factor that people need to think about and we're seeing a lot of the generational change happening because of COVID. A lot of older shop owners don't want to deal with all the new technology and just new ways of doing things, or having to make shifts in their business. And as those generational changes are happening, just naturally, you're going to have customers who maybe they're not as fond with the son and the culture that he creates in the shop. So you're going to need to have a plan at least. So Brian just said it. We completely understand. There are shops who are doing great without marketing. That's awesome, but you need to be prepared to shift into bringing marketing in and having an idea of what you're gonna implement.
So, when we talk about this, something that always comes up for me is know, like, and trust, right? Because that's a big thing for you guys. Because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. I mean, we all know that. Mm-hmm. How do we, and I think the messaging that I hear from a lot of shop owners who struggle with marketing and who struggle from getting out of the bay and to the front counter, and then out of the front counter and into ownership, like actually doing the job of owning a business. One of the things they struggle with is, how can I serve my clients like I've always served my clients when putting someone in the bay? How can I always serve my clients like I want to serve my clients if someone else is running the front counter? How can I do all of these things and be the owner? And so, look, you can put all the processes, policies, and procedures in place you want, but the reality is nobody's going to treat your clients like you treat your clients. Nobody is going to care for their car the way that you care for their car, and I can understand that. But if it means that you're taking away from your children, it means you're taking away from your wife, it means you're not living a life, it means that you're doing a job, and a miserable job at that. Brian, you know what I'm talking about. Like when you're working in the bay 5 and 6 and 7 days a week, and you're working 12 and 14 hours a day trying to keep up with everything, and you're barely making enough money to survive. At that point, like, no, I'm sorry, it's not feasible. It's not working, right? It might be working for your client. They might know, like, and trust you, but we've got to at least scale outside of that, right? There's no way around that, because it's not sustainable. Right? So yeah. I think when we talk about this, that's one of the things a lot of shop owners miss is they say, well, I don't need to do marketing. But when you look at the numbers and you really dig into their business, you find out that they were subsidizing repairs, so their prices were too low. You find out that they were working on everything in the business. They were doing the work that the business does. And so therefore, they never ever saw, hey, look, I've got to stop this. I've got to put people in place that can do this. And I have got to teach my staff to be likable, to be trustable, and get to know my clients, right? And I also have got to teach my clients to know, like, and trust my staff, right? And so that's the big changeover that I think has to happen. I think that's one of the main problems with marketing, especially in a smaller shop, is it never happens.
Well, one of the most important pieces for being successful in doing what you're doing is having a rock solid set of core values in place.
I agree.
You've got to have those core values, and you have to build a culture in your shop around those core values. Because you say that you can't teach people to fix cars the way that you do, or to treat the customer the way that you do, but you really can. And it just comes down to those core values and being unwavering with them.
I can agree with that.
Yeah. And then, when marketing, as far as the whole know, like, trust thing, that is the most important thing that you'll ever do in your marketing, is to do marketing that gets people to know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
But you've got to have, again, the core values and the culture in place for, when you become that bigger shop. When you're a small shop, 2-3 man operation, it's easy for people to know, like, and trust you without you really having the core values in place, because your core values are kind of naturally within you, and people can pick up on that. But when you start getting into an organization where you got 10, 12, 15, 20 people,
right,
then at that point, your core values can't just be inside of you. They have to be, like, pounded into people, that this is who we are. This is what we stand for. When this happens, this is what we do. And when you put marketing that helps people to come to know, like, and trust you on top of a great culture and a really strong set of core values, then people are actually going to know, like, and trust you.
I agree. And I think you're 100% right. And one of the things that I always tell my staff, and it's something that I can feel when we get away from it, is the desired outcome, right? And it comes back to the core values. What is the desired outcome for our business? It means that, hey, my desired outcome is you go and you take care of that client. I want a safe and reliable automobile for them. I want them to get into a car that leaves better than it came in, and I want them to understand that we know and care about them, right? That is my desired outcome for an experience here in my shop, and I give my staff the authority to make decisions which achieve that, right? My question is how do you take a small shop, right? Because we're making that transition right now. How do you take a small shop that has always had the owner in it and has never had to market? And maybe the better question is, what do you do for a small shop that says, I don't want to market? What do you do for a small shop that says, hey, I don't want to go to that next step? Do they still market?
I mean, if they have always had success without marketing and they are not interested in growing, then I wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
I've always been that person that, believes that you do what's the best thing for the client.
Right.
And I do know and truly do believe that there are some shops that they don't need to market. They don't need to market because either they're in a very small town where everyone who lives there passes by their shop 3 times a day. Their grandparents and their parents did business with them, and they just know this is where you go to get your car fixed. Or they don't need to market because they're a small operation, they're profitable, they have no desire to grow any bigger than that, and there's nothing wrong with that either. When you have that small shop that's profitable and they like the way they are, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's like, hey, more power to you. Keep doing what you've been doing. And, I would never want to try to convince that person, oh, you need to be marketing, when they really don't need to be.
Right. And
see, the problem for me is even those who say they're not marketing, they're marketing.
Yeah.
Because I believe every single thing that you do, every single thing that you say, every process, what your parking lot looks like, everything is marketing. You are literally marketing sitting in your chair right now wearing that Shopware t-shirt, and Brian's wearing that shop. I don't know. I think Brian just put that shirt on because it's comfortable and it's soft and he really likes it, and he has 800 of them and he wears them all the time. I don't think that today he thought, maybe he did. I don't know that he thought, I'm going to be on this podcast today. Let me put this shirt on. Right. But, you know,
give him a little credit. He was smart about it. He's like, of course I'm going to wear this shirt.
Oh, no, he does a lot. He does that a lot. Brian's very intentional.
He needs to sip from his Shop Marketing Pros cup.
Yeah, there you go.
True.
What's in that cup?
He's looking for the cup.
I don't
He's
have
like,
one of those.
You guys don't have tumblers or cups?
You have a podcast cup. Well,
we don't.
We do have coffee cups and like beer glasses, but they're from our original marketing company with a different name. So we have to change that. But that's what I'm saying is that, I mean, how you carry yourself, you know, they say they're not marketing, but they're marketing. And if they're a small shop and they're not looking to grow, well, you're certainly not looking to, what's the opposite of grow? I mean, lose customers.
Right.
So you're doing something to keep the customers that you have.
Right.
Right. Whether you're thanking them for coming in or there's some type of follow-up, that's marketing. So I challenge the ones who say, I don't believe in marketing and I'm not doing marketing. You are doing marketing.
That's a great point, because everybody says, I'm not doing any marketing. It's like, well, you're not doing anything? Oh, well, I do call them back and check in on them, and then I send thank you cards. It's like, okay, well, that's all marketing. They think marketing is running Google ads and sending postcards. Like, that's what they think.
That's advertising.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great point.
Very different.
Is it more important then to build a brand, or to have the person coming to the brand, or to the owner, or do you see it best to intermingle the two and have the owner be the brand? Because I've seen it done both ways. Like, if you come through Kansas City, there are a bunch of like heating and air conditioning companies where the owner is the brand. In fact, there was one owner, the name of the company is the owner's name, and he ran for Senate for the open Senate seat in Kansas off of his name, because his mug is on all these trucks running up and down all of Kansas City. He had a ton of name recognition, and so he ran for this. He lost, but he came into the race really late, and he gave him a pretty good show, pretty good running, just off of name recognition. But he probably has never been in somebody's house, or hasn't been in anybody's house in like 25 years. Like, that's not what he does. His name is the brand. Is that better than just... Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it has a lot to do with whether or not you ever desire to exit the business. And
well, I think even if you left, though...
What's that?
Even if this guy left, it would still be Bob Hamilton Heating and Air Conditioning. Yeah. Even though he's like, oh, Bob Hamilton died 10 years ago. It's like, okay, let's still call Bob Hamilton. No?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You can, if you sell the business and you're okay with your name being tied to something that you don't own anymore, then, sure. I've just always felt like, you look at Shop Marketing Pros, for example. We have clients that when they're referring to somebody, they're like, you need to talk to Kim and Brian Walker. They don't say, you need to call Shop Marketing Pros. And it's because, we're involved with the industry. We're the ones that do the teaching. We do the podcast. People associate Shop Marketing Pros with Kim and Brian Walker, and they associate Kim and Brian Walker with Shop Marketing Pros. I know that there are some people that successfully run a business and completely stay in the background, and people don't even know that they exist as the owners.
David, he's talking to you.
What's that?
No, I'm not like that. That's the problem.
Oh.
I would prefer that. I don't get any. You know how many angry emails I get? I was just talking about it. How many angry emails I get? I don't want any more angry emails.
But the thing is when we talk about know, like, and trust, people do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Right.
It's much more difficult to get people to know, like, and trust a brand than it is a person. So it's definitely much easier to have the people involved and highly associated with the brand.
Yeah.
That's also where the core values come in, because it's part of your brand. So many people think the brand is the logo sitting over there, but the brand includes who you are as a shop, who you are as a company, what you stand for. And I mean, when we had our shop, we couldn't separate ourselves from it, and our name wasn't even in it. It was Peak Automotive. People thought my name was Kim Peak. I'm like, no, that's not. Like they would introduce me. This is Kim Peak. And I'm like, no, it's not. But so many people come in when they want to start up a business, and a lot of times they think they're going to do just what you were just talking about, David. They're like, oh, it's Bob's shop. And sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know that 15 years from now, you're going to be worn out, or something's going to happen with your family and you want to go take care of your mom, or, and it's not Bob's Auto anymore. So I'm always real concerned when people want to put their name in it, because you just don't know what life's going to be like. And then to separate from it, because if it's Bob's Auto, everybody walks in, hey, can I talk to Bob? They don't know Bob.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and look, if you've ever heard the Haas garage door story, has anybody ever heard of Haas garage door? You know who that is? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they had a long running garage door manufacturing facility, right? Really well known. I know this because I've got Haas doors in my shop. And so they sold the business, and somebody else bought the business, and everybody kept telling everybody to go to Haas garage doors. Well, they went and found the original owner when somebody would say that. And eventually the new manufacturer that owns that company got really upset about it. There is a whole legal case over it, just because everybody kept going to him. And he was saying, look, I don't build those garage doors. I sell garage door components. I install garage doors. And eventually they went and sued him for something like $20 million, saying you can't continue to do this. And he said, you don't have a non-compete on any of this. It was just manufacturing garage doors. I just enjoy putting up garage doors. That's what I'm going to do. And so you never think about those silly little implications that could come down the line. You say, I'll never sell it. I'll never this. I'll never that. Man, you don't know that that's not coming down the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
there are people that think...
Yeah.
Sorry, I was
when
just
you start your business,
People
you do it, because it's a passion usually, and you're so passionate about it. And then you get 20, 30 years into it.
And then reality
and
hits
the passion
you,
has
and you're
changed.
like, this is awful. What was I thinking?
Only took David
It's the
6
worst
months.
thing in the world. No, it took me longer than 6 months. It was like 2 years. 2 years. I'm like...
Or they think, oh, my kid's going to take over.
Yeah.
Right? And your kid doesn't want to have anything to do with that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now you're in a whole different situation.
Yeah.
Well,
so
that's unfortunate. And speaking of being involved in the industry, you guys stepped up big time to help us with these shop owners.
That's huge.
These shop owners, to send them to ASTE, we're going to send a shop owner and a technician.
Yep.
So technician, if you're listening to this, get your shop owner to apply for the scholarship, because they're not sending you to ASTE. It's not that they're deadbeats. Although if they can afford it, they're not going to ASTE, they're deadbeats. But if they can't afford it, like legit can't afford it, then they need to apply for the scholarship, because we're going to send a shop owner and a technician from a shop, from two different shops, thanks to Shop Marketing Pros and Kim and Brian Walker.
Yep, absolutely. David, how do they apply for the scholarship?
I'll throw the link in the comments section. No, it's in the description. Cool. See, I was prepared. Look at me.
The first time in a long time.
Proud of myself. I was prepared. It's in the description. It's in the description. You just got to click that link and you can apply.
Seriously, guys, thank you so much. I mean, it means the world to us. And we know that you love your industry. We love it too. And we're so happy to have you guys as part of it with us. So that was huge. And we really
I'm going to tell, should I tell them the story of what happened?
Yeah, sure.
We're going to end up calling somebody out. Anyway, I got this phone call, and because we had to, Raleigh is a very expensive city, let me tell you. And getting the facility and the food and the travel and all that stuff is so much more expensive than Kansas City. You wouldn't think, but it is. It's so much more expensive. And so we were discussing, we're like, hey, what are we going to do? It's going to cost almost triple what it costs to put on the dinner at vision in Kansas City to do this thing at ASTE. And we wanted it to be really nice. It was a good time in Kansas City. We wanted it to be slightly better.
It was truly amazing.
Well, thanks. We've tried. But we wanted to do even better. We wanted to bring a bigger speaker, which you guys are sponsoring the speaker as well. And so we really wanted to go all out on top of it being 3 times as expensive to do this thing in Kansas, in Raleigh. So, we adjusted all our prices and had different levels and stuff like that. And oh man, did I get some flack about that. And man, I'm not kidding. I was getting off the phone with one person who goes, "Good luck." That's essentially the gist of the conversation. Good luck getting somebody. And the very next person I talked to was Brian. And he's like, "Let's do this." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Oh man, you would not believe."
David was ready to give up. David was 100% ready to give up.
I was so dejected when I got off that phone call with that last person, and I'm like, we bit off too much, more than we could chew, and this is going to be a disaster. We're going to have to back out. I think we'd already put a deposit down on the speaker, and so I'm like, we're going to lose that money because it's non-refundable on the deposit, and I'm like, the chest got tight, and I'm like, what are we going to do? And I'm freaking out. And I'm not kidding. I was so dejected because I'm an emotional roller coaster. And the very next phone call is Brian. He saved the day. And I'm not kidding, Brian. It was you stepped up. It was, I get off the phone. I'm like, this is awesome. I cannot believe they're stepping up. And then the sponsorships just started rolling in after that.
Everybody heard that Kim and Brian were doing it. And
Kim and Brian walked.
That's where we're going to follow success.
No joke. I name dropped as much as I could. And I'm like, yeah, well, Kim and Brian Walker are doing this. How about that? How about them apples? I'm not kidding. I just kept saying that over and over. And they're like, oh, well, I guess we can help a little bit. It's like, yeah, that's right. Kim and Brian Walker, thank you.
So, hey, whoever wins the scholarships, you got to make sure you come shake their hands and say thank you, because they took a huge part in making sure that you get there. So make sure you go fill out the scholarship application if you want to come.
And the speaker's going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, the speaker is going to be.
He's going to be doing TikTok dances. The whole last half of the speaking event is him doing TikTok dances. Not really TikTok dances, but there will be dancing. There will be dancing.
I told our team, I was like, have you ever heard of this little thing called the evolution of dance? And they're like, ah.
Yeah. So thanks to you guys, he's showing up.
Very cool.
Yeah. We had to have 6 meetings to make that happen. And also, I'm like, I don't know where this money's coming from. So
we didn't have ASOG when we were shop owners, and so we get it. We understand how incredibly important and valuable this is. So we love what y'all are doing, and we're thrilled to be involved in it.
It makes it really hard to make excuses. That's why, that shop you visited, Lucas, you got to wonder, what are you doing? Because just like you're saying, ASOG is available now. When I opened the shop, I think ASOG hadn't formed yet, right? What is it? What year did they come together? 17?
I want to say it was 17. Yeah. It was 17, so, I came in not long after it opened, right? You were there before me.
When I opened my shop up, it was pretty much, you're going to be going to some kind of training class that you have to pay for, and then the coaching company is going to pitch you. And then that's it. You're either going to sign up with them, and then you're stuck with this coaching company for forever, paying $1 bajillion to be a success, or that's it. You don't have any other options. And I was researching books to read. I'm like, is there a podcast? I did find Carm, and Carm helped quite a bit. But, when you're looking for, I need specific help. I need to ask a question, a specific question to help this particular situation, or I need help with these numbers. There was nothing. And then ASOG started it. And now there's a ton of podcasts. Your podcast for marketing. How many? You're the only automotive marketing podcast out there, right? You should be the only one, right? The only ones?
Yeah, I believe so.
I think so.
Yeah. The only legit one, we'll say. Anyway, but if you need marketing help, you can find a podcast. So there's so many resources now. That there's a whole book. I got the book right here. Look. There's a whole book on it. You can, and you've got the audio version out, right? Officially.
I do.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
You don't want to read,
slick.
you can listen to it. So there's so much. And this was not available when I opened. That's my point.
Right.
Is there's
Same
so
here.
much. There's
Same
so
here.
much
Well-
out there right now that doesn't involve necessarily you. Not there's anything wrong with signing up with a coach, but if you don't want to take that step and you just want to see like if I know that I don't know some things, but I don't know what that is. So I just want to dive into it a little bit and then realize, oh yeah, I do need some help. Or maybe I don't need some help. I just need to tweak a few things. There's so many resources now. It's like you wonder why the excuses, why the bad shops, why the shops underpaying their staff and not charging for diag and allowing customer supplied parts.
I think I've got the answer to that. I think I've got a lot of the answer to that, because that shop that I went into, and I hope he's listening. I hope he hears this, right? Like we went into a shop and we talked about a lot of the issues, and Dutch was with me. And it's a shop semi-local to me, and I wanted somebody else to be there to give a professional opinion instead of me, and Dutch went in and said, hey, this is not sustainable. This won't work, right? And it sucked to have to hear that. But the people there were really, really hesitant to even listen to anything we said. And they said, why would you want to help us? That's so weird that you would want to help us. Why would you want to help us? And Dutch and I reiterated over and over again, because we've been exactly where you are right now. We've been here before. We've experienced this. That's what ASOG is about, right? That is the whole premise of ASOG, is because we don't want you to go through what we went through. We want you to learn from our mistakes. We don't want you to have to learn from your own mistakes. And you know,
and let's be real too. You know, as every one of those shops get better, even when they're your competition right across the street. You know, the old saying about a rising tide lifts all ships.
Amen.
Well, you know, when you've got that person that's over there that is not doing business the right way, that is, you know, adding to a poor stigma that the industry already has, or they're over there charging way too little, making it, you know, very difficult on the shops that are doing great work to charge what they should be charging.
Yep.
You know, so when you, even when it's your competitors, if you can help them to become better, you're helping your own shop to become better.
Absolutely. And you know, I think a lot of it falls back. I had an experience last week that I never thought I would have. I had a loaner car that we took out of service, and a client I had not seen in years showed up, and he was just all to pieces, right? Really upset. And he said, Lucas, I need your help. I know I've not been here in a long time, but my mom and my dad are here. They're both in their upper 80s. My mom has got breast cancer and my dad's got breathing problems, and their car's messed up. Can you look at it? I really need your help. And I said, yeah, absolutely. No problem. So Eric looked at the car, and the car was blown up. It's Dunzo's, right? And we ended up giving this man and his mom and dad a car. It was a loaner car. It wasn't in great shape. It was something we were taking out of service anyway. It didn't matter. And this man came flying back through the parking lot and screamed and cussed at all of us. And he said, what kind of trick are you trying to pull? And I said, what do you mean? What kind of trick am I trying to pull? He said, I don't know why you would ever do this unless you were trying to get something from them. And I said, we have zero interest in getting anything from them. We've not asked for anything. I literally signed the title over. Here you go. I didn't ask for anything at all. We didn't even say we wanted to fix their vehicle. And he said, yeah, but I just can't understand why you would do that. Because I want to help people. Why wouldn't I? And he said, I was a police officer for 25 years. And he said, I've never seen somebody give somebody something without an expectation. And so maybe it's part of what society has become. But I think that taught me a lesson about why so many people are hesitant to the advice given in ASOG and hesitant to go get a scholarship or something like that. And my message to those of you who are hearing that, please understand there is no ulterior motive with ASOG or the scholarships. We just want to help you.
Yeah, ASOG is full of some of the most genuine people I've ever met. And that's one of the reasons why we do sponsorships.
Yeah, David's in there.
You know what? Even the a-holes are the most genuine people you'll ever meet.
They are most genuine assholes you'll ever meet.
They will tell you exactly what you need to be told.
Yes.
You might not like the way that they tell you, but what they said is 100% right. And it was done with love in a weird way.
Absolutely. I agree 110%.
I love that.
But that's why we sponsor, you know, and are involved with ASOG. We just love what it is that y'all are doing.
Well, thank you guys so much for being a part of it, and we're honored to have you as a part of it. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
I'm not cutting it off. They got to go to shopmarketingpros.com. You get the free book.
Shopmarketingpros.com.
Is it still free? It's $20.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's not $20. Send me
you
the
got all kind of
$20. I
options
need the
there.
money.
You can get the book for free as a downloadable PDF on the website,
there
or
you
you can
go.
go to
See?
Amazon and buy a physical copy, or get it on Kindle or Audible.
Yeah. Hey, and I just want to put this
Audible's
out there.
fancy.
I use Shop Marketing Pros for my business, and it has been fantastic. We have had phenomenal results, and I mean that. I'm not just saying that because you guys are on here. I genuinely mean that. The team has been great to work with. They have met every need we have as far as business marketing goes. So thank you guys so much. Y'all do a great job for us.